Look at what arrived in the mail yesterday. Such great timing. Now I'm finally ready for the WandaVision finale. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys so much for joining me here in my studio once again today. I will be doing a video about the season finale on WandaVision. That's right guys, the final episode is here and I'll be doing a little review and breakdown of the episode and talking about some of the things you might have missed along with some Easter eggs. So guys, without wasting any more of the time, let's just get right into this insane episode. So guys, let's just start at the beginning. So the episode opened up right where the last one ended, with Agatha, Wanda and her children being out on the street, and Agatha is holding Wanda's children captive with some magic ropes around their neck, and yeah, she's just overall fretting Wanda. So if you guys don't remember, last week we got some pretty huge information about Wanda's powers and her magical abilities, the origin of them and what exactly it is, and that's what I want to talk about here first. So last week we learned that Wanda's powers comes from something called chaos magic, which is an extremely powerful form of magic, something that really terrified Agatha when she found out about it, and that's why she's holding Wanda's children captive, so that she kind of have some leverage from it. Now, because of her usage of this magic, she has become a Scarlet Witch. Something that is really rare to see among witches, and here we kind of learn how they're created. Scarlet Witches, unlike normal witches, are not born with their powers, they are forged through trauma. They take all of the sadness and tragedies that they've experienced and use them to ignite the spark of magic that they have inside of them. In Wanda's case, that was when she touched the Infinity Stone, you know, the Mind Stone. That's when it finally sparked inside of her all of this chaos magic. With Wanda being a Scarlet Witch and having this chaos magic inside of her, we learn this episode that she is even more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme. Guys, she is even more powerful than the guy who was stated by the Ancient One to be the most powerful mage, wizard and witch in the entire universe. That's a pretty big deal. I knew after Endgame when she was almost killing Thanos that she was really powerful, but it's just insane. Not gonna lie, I kinda wanna see her battle Captain Marvel now. Make it happen, Marvel. But Wanda being this powerful is why Agatha is so afraid of her and why they engage in a fight out on the street. So Wanda, she's kind of telling her children to run off and stay safe in the house because obviously she doesn't want them in danger. Then she just proceeds to yeet Agatha into her house, and if that wasn't enough, she drops a fucking car on top of her. And guys, I gotta say, the fighting, especially early on this episode, is just a lot of yeeting back and forth, like throwing each other into the sky, into building, into the ground. That's just basically what all of the fighting is in this, like at least in the early parts of this episode. But as Wanda goes to check up on Agatha after being crushed by a literal car, she gets a total Wizard of Oz moment with Agatha just leaving her boots behind and disappearing. And I thought this was just a really cool nod and something like, because when you think of witches, most people they tend to like relate to Wizard of Oz and stuff like that, so I just thought that was really cool. Wanda doesn't get a lot of time to investigate where Agatha went though, as shortly after this she is visited by Vision. Or perhaps I should say Grey Vision. And I really do think Paul Bettany nails the contrast between playing these two different versions of Vision. The episode goes a lot in depth into like what makes the real Vision Vision and all of that good stuff, but I'll get into that a little bit later. But Paul Bettany's acting, especially as Grey Vision here in his introduction, I just love it. He just kind of goes up and is like, Wanda. And then Wanda's like so happy and she doesn't really understand because Vision is grey, what the hell is going on? But she starts like, yeah. And then he literally just goes, nice. The man was literally trying to crush her skull with his bare hands, and I was not expecting Marvel to go this dark. Like with this show, they've really gotten a lot darker, like a lot darker than usual. Like MCU movies are for the most part seen as a bit more family friendly, but this show, like, they are actually showing that Marvel can go dark, and I'm in love with that idea. But of course, the colorful and more light version of Vision is there to save the day and save his wife, Wanda. Wanda though, she runs straight back into town, trying to find Agatha. Of course, Agatha shows up and plays some tricks on Wanda. Being as manipulative as she is, she starts to remove all of Wanda's mind control on some of the people, and here we really do see the damage that Wanda has caused, and we really do see Wanda getting some consequences to the actions that she has taken. Everyone is just straight up afraid of Wanda. They're afraid for what she can do, if she is going to harm them and their family. I just love Dorothy, or whatever her name was, when she came up and was like, yeah, could my 8-year-old daughter just be like friends with Tommy and Billy? Give them a role so that she isn't locked up. Can I just get to see her? Hold her. Like, you can really see, like, she was asking Wanda for permission to do stuff, and she was just really afraid for getting hurt and for her family to get hurt. And I just really love that, because you could see Wanda was actually herself, she was terrified by this, because that's not how she wants to be perceived. She doesn't want to be perceived as a villain who terrorizes and splits up families. She wants to be seen as a hero. So of course, Wanda, she wants to let them go, and that's kind of also what Agatha is manipulating her to do. So Wanda actually ends up, you know, removing the hex. Or I guess removing is kind of a strong word. She's kind of just dissolving some part of the hex. Yeah, I think that's just the right explanation. And after doing this, she kind of just tells everybody to leave, get out of town, get your family, like just get to safety. You're free to go. Like she's just freeing everybody who was in the hex. You know, we see Norm and all of the people. They're just getting out of there. But as we learned in past episodes, Vision cannot survive without the hex. If he leaves it, he dies. If it gets destroyed or dissolves, he dies. But something I was really surprised to see, and also really horrified to see, was that her children was also starting to dissolve. They are so bound into the magic of the hex, like the magic that's used to create the hex, that they too cannot survive without the hex. And this was kind of something I did see coming, but it still surprised me anyways, because I had kind of theorized about it for a while. But I did really think that Tommy and Billy would actually survive, since Marvel is kind of setting up the Young Avengers, also with the Kate Bishop Hawkeye show coming out. But yeah, it kind of caught me off guard that they were starting to dissolve as well. But seeing this forces Wanda to put up the hex again and stop it from being destroyed, so she kind of just puts it all up again, so that she can save her family. And I was just like, did people get trapped in there again? Because we didn't really see any people just straight up leave. Like there was no cut of anyone like literally getting out of there. We only saw Tyler Hayward's people coming in because they saw this as an opportunity to attack. She didn't really give them a lot of time to get out of there, to be honest. So I'm just curious if everybody's just stuck around the border or something. Damn, Wanda really knows how to make people's lives sad. But yeah, as I mentioned before, Tyler Hayward, he sees this as his opportunity to attack and goes in to kill her once and for all. Speaking of Hayward, once again this episode just continued to confuse me as to what the heck's the deal with Hayward. Like, is he Mephisto? Is he my nightmare? Or is he a regular dude like I've been theorizing about all along? And as we know, that was the case. He's not a super secret villain. He is just a normal man with some evil intentions. And I think that's why some people may have a hard time with this finale and will be feeling underwhelmed by everything that happened, because there were no big bad. It was just Agatha all along. Also, some of the interviews where the cast spoke up about this finale just continues to confuse me even more, because Paul Bettany said that there was an actor coming this finale which he would just have loved to work with, like someone he's been looking forward to work with. And I don't know who the hell this is. Maybe the Skrull lady at the end? Like what? Elizabeth Olsen even said there would be like a Luke Skywalker level cameo. Where? Where did we get that? Explain! So yeah, I do get why some people might end up not even liking this finale and seeing it as not really doing the series justice. But for me, I kind of think I know where they were kind of going with this finale. This finale had a ton of questions to answer. And to be honest, I feel like we should have gotten another episode on top of that. That's my honest opinion. I feel like we could have used one more episode just to flesh out everything. Something just about the aftermath. Mortal Kombat reference. But in all seriousness, guys, I do think one extra episode would just have helped bring the series to a good conclusion, because I do feel like we were left with too many unanswered questions to my liking, to my taste. We did get a lot of them answered, but still there were something that I just feel like we should have gotten to. But on a good note, we finally know what's going on with Evan Peters' Quicksilver, and as I've been theorizing since the beginning, he is not the actual Quicksilver, he is just a normal actor called Ralph Bohner. Now, after watching the episode, I did read some people on Twitter were feeling like he was horribly misused, like he did not really get the justice like he deserved. But to me, I think like his character was just perfect for this show, because it would be really confusing for general audiences of both, you know, the X-Men movies and WandaVision to see him both places. Like, it would just be weird. So I think most people can just get behind it. He's just another cameo and just a fun little Easter egg in the show. And I too prefer it that way. Like, that's the way I would have done it myself. Like, it would have been cool if he was Mephisto or Nightmare, but it would just be too confusing and too weird for me. So I'm just happy with this ending, or at least the ending to Quicksilver. But yeah, I was just hoping we'd get Aaron Taylor Johnson back. Like, I was so hoping for it. Maybe he didn't want to come back. I don't know what's the deal there, but I was just so hoping for him to come back. It was just been so great. And I guess we'll just have to see what the future holds. I do hope we get a cameo or at least some nods to him in future MCU movies. But yeah, jumping back into the episode, one of my favorite parts of this episode was actually Vision versus Vision, especially since it was their philosophical ideals that were pinched against each other. Like, there was such a huge contrast between them, and I kind of like that. But at the same time, because they are the same person, there was such a good understanding, and I really do love the logic when they're talking about the ship being replaced, like which of them is the true Vision. And Grey Vision, he just kind of flies off to get some answers. He goes to the museum at the end of Captain America Civil War, at least that's what I think. That's at least how I understood it, what they were saying. So yeah, I'm kind of curious to see if he will come back and become our new Vision on the new Avengers team. So yeah, that's at least my theory. I think he will come back. But guys, by far the best thing that happened this episode, the thing that got me so excited, like the most excited, I was literally jumping around my bedroom. It needs no explanation. The Scarlet Witch suit reveal. It looked really good, like insanely good. Like, it was so good. Like, they really interpreted her comic costume in such a good way on the screen, and the way her crown kind of comes around. I really do love what they've done with witch crowns in this show. Like, all started back in the last episode, but now Wanda kind of gets her own. It's so good. And I love how they kind of did a mirror scene with, you know, the scene we saw in last episode in the Mind Stone where Wanda comes out of here with the yellow background. Now it's kind of red and magical, and I just love that. Oh, it's so good. Like, it made up for everything else for me. Like, that was just like what stole this show for me. And oh boy, is it good. It's like one of the best costumes that are in the MCU right now. I'm telling you guys. Oh, damn, son. If that didn't make you, like, just jump out of the seat and being like, what? I don't know what did. Like, it was just so good. Like, I think that can be a common agreement about this episode. The suit, it was just mwah! And she got it at just the right time in the episode when Agatha is trying, you know, to suck out all of her life force. And it was just so cool. And I do really love that that's the deal with Agatha. Like, she has the power to just suck out everybody's life force and magic and just being like, I take your magic, I take your magic. Like, doing a reverse Oprah, that's basically what she does. And I'm just so in love with that idea. Like, the whole concept is just so cool. And just the fact that Wanda uses Agatha's own tricks against her, I just love, you know, with drawing the runes around the hex. I just love that because it's so creative and something I wasn't really expecting, but something I should have seen coming. And oh, it was a surprise, but just a welcome one. Like, this episode really nailed its climax. I'm just so happy for it, and it was just ooh, nice. But of course, Wanda being as powerful as she is, she kind of ends up doing a reverse Agnes and sucks her power to herself. And this was just so cool to see. Like, here you really do see that Wanda is not the only one who's getting manipulated. Like, she knows how to manipulate too. And I just really love that aspect of her character. Like, Wanda's evolution throughout the series has just been so cool. And what she does to Agatha afterwards, making her become Agnes, like the neighbor, full time on, like she cannot get out of it, like she magically transform her into it. I just love that. It's just a fitting punishment, I would say. But I just thought it's so fitting, and I was just like, karma, bitch. It was just, I thought it was fitting for the character. I guess you could say it didn't come without any consequences, because Wanda won the war, but she lost the battle. When Wanda and Vision, they kind of go back home, and after they've released the Hex, Vision and Wanda, they just come to this agreement where they're like both agreeing on, you know, releasing everybody from the Hex, dissolving the Hex, making all of this stop, and just go back to normal. But it was just so sad with the kids. Like, they don't know they're about to die. Like, they just put them to bed, and you can just feel the pain and the tears in the acting. Like, Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany are hands down some of my favorite actors after watching the show. Like, they are so good, especially with emotions and the heartfelt scenes. Like, my favorite acting moment is still in episode 6, you know, the large argument between Wanda and Vision, especially Paul Bettany's part there. Like, they just act so well. Like, but yeah, it really hit my gut seeing the children dissolve. But I'm kind of happy, you know, they're just sleeping and they don't know what happened. Like, they're not, you know, consciousness when they're dying. And it just hits you differently. And I just love that speech, as I mentioned earlier, where Vision and Wanda, they're just talking about, you know, who Vision is, what he is, and why Wanda created him. And I just loved, it's so emotional, man. This episode really did good for me. I know some people will be feeling underwhelmed, as I said, but for me, it did everything it had to. But yeah, guys, overall, this episode has just been so great, but it's not over yet. Let's get into those post-credit scenes. So guys, there were 2 end credit scenes this episode, and I think we should just start off with the first one. So the first one is kind of like the lesser cool end credit scene, if you can say it like that. I still think it's a big deal, so I'm gonna just break down to what happens. So Monica, she's just standing in the aftermath of the entire WandaVision thing, and she's asked to go into the movie theater. And when she goes in there, the person who asked her to follow her is actually a Skrull. She's revealed to be a Skrull of her old Skrull friend, you know, Talos' daughter from Captain Marvel. And now this is a really big deal in the MCU, because she tells Monica that she wants her to go into space with her. And this is kind of just setting up, you know, the Secret Invasion storyline for me. Like, this is literally what I think is happening. The Secret Invasions is coming to the MCU with the Skrulls, and I think that's so cool. I really hope it is true, because it's a comic storyline that I think would be really cool to see on screen. But yeah, guys, let's move on to the one that everybody will be talking about. The one that really got me to, like, get hyped for the MCU moving forward. So I'm, of course, talking about the end credit scene with Wanda. After Wanda leaves Westview, she kind of moves to this, I think it's in Sokovia, this Sokovian place where she kind of lives in this new wood house. And you can see some, what it looks to be runes engraved in the walls. And I just really loved it because it shows that Wanda's already studying magic. And we kind of just see Wanda coming out in her civilian clothes and just sitting there on the porch and just, you know, enjoying the weather, just, you know, thinking about everything. But what's even more cool is then when the camera zooms into the house, we see another version of Wanda reading the Darkhold. And we've seen something like this in Doctor Strange, you know, with being multiple places at once, with the Asian Wanda and Doctor Strange and all of that magic stuff. So it's kind of cool to see that she's getting more tangled into the universe of Doctor Strange, I should say. Also, the music that is playing in this scene is actually from the soundtrack of the Doctor Strange movie, and as we know, Wanda will be a huge part in the next Doctor Strange movie, so it's just kind of nice to see that they're already getting intertwined with each other. But highly the most interesting thing here is Wanda, she's studying the Darkhold, and as we saw earlier in the episode, there were kind of some Mephisto hints in the Darkhold, and what we hear here in the end is really what makes me believe that Mephisto is coming to the MCU. So we hear Wanda's children screaming. How can her children be alive? We literally just said goodbye to him, and it was a really big emotional rollercoaster for me, and I don't want to be pranked with that. Right after the children screaming, we see the screen flashing to red, and it kind of seems that it's two eyes. Like two eyes we're seeing it through. So what I think this is Mephisto coming to make a deal with Wanda about her getting her children back. And that's just insanely cool. Maybe she has accidentally summoned him with the Darkhold or something. And to be honest, I do think that will be the plot line of Doctor Strange 2, and that's just so cool. Mephisto has been teased since the beginning of WandaVision, and a lot of people actually theorized him to show up. I thought that could also be the case, but I was always being like, no, they're probably saving him for Doctor Strange 2, and that's definitely the case. And I do hope this is true. It would just be so cool. But yeah, guys, tell me your theories as well in the comments below to both of these credit scenes, as I'm really curious to see what you guys come up with, what you guys think is the truth, and just overall what is happening. So yeah, guys, just leave me a comment below about that, and I will check it out. But with that said, WandaVision overall has been a really cool show for me. Definitely the best superhero show I've watched in a long time, and I probably will in a long time. I know I still have Superman and Lois, which I'm really digging at this point, but WandaVision was just something special, and I just love the show. I'm really looking forward to Falcon and the Winter Soldier now, and especially Loki. I really think we got amazing and just wonderful performances by both Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany, along with some of the supporting cast. Like, the cast was really strong, and I just really love what they did with the show. I also fell in love with the comic references and these different plot points and different stories they kind of merged together. It just works so well, and they crafted an amazing and just overall fantastic story for this series. And overall, I think I would rate WandaVision as one of the best shows I've watched in a very long time. But with that said, guys, I guess that's a wrap. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure to press that thumbs up button, as I would really appreciate it, as I am a new channel starting to grow here on YouTube, and I have a goal of reaching 100 subscribers at the end of this month, so you could help me out with that, and I would really appreciate it if you did. And guys, if you enjoy my content, remember to subscribe and hit that notification bell, as I upload almost daily, so there's always some new, fresh and good content for you guys to enjoy. And remember to comment what I can improve, as I strive to create the best content possible for you guys. So yeah, guys, just remember to stay safe out there and have a good one. Bye.